Ms. Patton, I seem to remember reading very recently that Google and Facebook are building server farms up in the Northwest as fast as they can. Are they doing that because electricity rates are Northwest and they like to pay high electricity rates, Ms. Patton?
I don't think so. Those server farms use a great deal of energy.
Well, why do you think they pick up there rather than like the Northeast for something that consumes so much electricity?
I think because the power rates are very competitive.
Very competitive or very low?
Very low.
Compared to the Northeast, compared to the South, compared to the Midwest? Do you think that's the case, Ms. Patton?
That's correct. The hydropower base is very low.
Have you ever heard of Google complaining about the Endangered Species Act as one of the reasons why they might not move to the Northwest with all of these
I have
server
not.
farms?
I have not heard
You have
Google
not heard that.
complain. In fact, I've asked them about it, and they don't complain.
You know, I remember reading that Facebook and Google are actually touting all of the green power that they have, coming out.
They are. We actually brought to their attention that they should think about the fact that that green hydropower is great hydropower. It's got many, many great attributes, but it also has some problems with salmon.
Do you believe, Ms. Patton, that it would be good in terms of attracting investment from large high-tech companies that are streaming into your region, that they all know that, they're all going to be part of an effort to undercut the Endangered Species Act? Do you think that would help to draw Google and eBay and Amazon and Hulu up there?
I think they'd be very embarrassed.
Do you think they'd be very embarrassed? Yeah, that's interesting. Now, as you know, the federal government, pursuant to a program that's been authorized by the Congress, is going to be providing an $8.2 billion loan guarantee program for the Southern Company to build nuclear power plants down in Georgia. $8.2 billion worth of federal funding. Do you think it might be helpful for them to know what happened with Whoops in terms of the exposure of the taxpayers?
I think that would be. I think that the Whoops, we call it Energy Northwest now, debt is paid for by
They changed the name to protect the guilty. Yeah, it's like they're in like a big witness protection program up there now,
but it is paid for by the ratepayers.
Yeah, we've been able to track them down up there. They changed the name. But do you think it might be helpful, in other words, for the American taxpayer if the people up in the Northwest, those who are still paying that Whoops bill, had it on their bill? You think we'd be hearing more? But don't you think it would help all of us here if that was on the bill, and then they could see the $500 million even last year that they had to pay on it, so they can see what happens when something goes wrong with nuclear power in terms of their bills, especially if it's taxpayer guaranteed?
Yeah, almost $550 million, and the total debt is now $5.9 billion for those 3 plants.
So would you have a problem with us putting that on the bill?
I have no problems, but I would want
Mr.
it to
Redeman,
be
would you have a problem if we put that on the bill, just so
everything on the bill?
Yeah, the public would know about that? Would you have a problem with that?
I think the public is already generally aware of the process.
Well, they're generally aware of the Endangered Species Act, too, but you're going to give them a specific number, don't you think?
And the costs that were incurred during
But $500 million, how many people do you really think know they're paying still $500 million on that mistake?
I think most of our members are aware of the...
No, I'm talking about the consumer,
That our members that we refer to our consumers as members in a co-op.
So you think they all know?
I don't think they all know, no, sir. I think...
Would you object, let me object, would you object to us putting it on the bill?
I think the way the bill is crafted right now works.
No, but I'm asking, would you mind if we added that as an extra line?
I don't need that information, sir.
You don't think that the consumer needs that information?
I didn't say that.
Why not? Why not? Why don't they need the information?
I think we can do an adequate job now of putting that type of information and conveying it.
How would you convey that information, Mr. Redeman?
Well, we know that there are 3 broad cost categories for Bonneville. There's the operation.
No, but how do you communicate the $550 million last year to your consumers? How do you do that?
We would be able to, monthly we communicate with our members about what the overall cost are, and we can do the $750 million for Fish and Wildlife. We can do the $700 million for the nuclear plants, including the operation and maintenance. And there's the other big bucket of dollars is $700 million for the operation maintenance.
So if the Markey amendment, if I made the Markey amendment to add in the the Whoops money to the bill so that everyone could know, would you object to that?
I don't have an opinion on that today, sir.
You don't. Okay. How about you, Mr. Cohen? Would you object to it if if we were able to put that in?
I don't think it's necessary because it's one number. By the way, I think that estimate is high for just the WIPS part of the debt. It's one number you can come up with. Fish and Wildlife is much more complex, much more volatile year to year. It goes hundreds of millions of dollars up and down between years, so that's why it's valuable to have the agency produce it.
All right, thank you. The gentleman's time's expired. Mrs. Napolitano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to